Hello, guys. Sorry I'm late. I was finishing things up. I saw what you guys wrote in the main chat. Oh, my goodness. Eric, hi. Charles is not going to be here today. Charles said that I think he's oh, Michael is here. How are you, Michael? So Charles will probably skip this one. Okay. So as usual, Oshi, that's you? Win7, is that you? Hopefully. And I'll meet you guys in a second. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. So great news. Yeah, great, very good news that today yesterday we actually went through this beautiful downside in our database. That was an easy fix. These guys fixed everything already. Easy fix. But the good thing is, the good news is that people are actually watching the dashboard right now. That's the most important part. So, like, some people liked what we showed in the main group in terms of the videos, and some people liked our last webinar about commission fees. And I do have some good news about commission fees, but I'm not going to share them with you guys yet. I'm serious. I actually have very good news. We're still looking into that, but it's going to be hopefully very good for American users specifically, because outside of the US, again, for the commission fees we have everything, but for the US users, however, it does not change the fact that we need to start promoting so Win7, is that Ashri, is that you? What that you said in our call? No. There's some good news about US market, but yeah, we can't sell this. We can't do this yet. We still need to make sure that you guys still have enough flow. So for us, enough flow will still be about, just like I said, well, 150 boxes will be good here. So we need to start doing this, doing the promotion. And you guys need to start telling your friends. I know Kevin will do the promotion. Kevin reached out to me and said, hey, I can help you do 25 boxes here. Michael, if you can, we'll appreciate this. I know Joel will help. I know that he already has some. He's waiting for the box, which is fair. By the way, as far as the box, we think that we're gonna send it to the first testers. So Charles is away for a week, so that sucks. So we'll probably send it to Joel. So Joel will probably just come over here to the office and just pick it up, the first one. And I'm also gonna give it to myself, obviously, and I'm also gonna give it to Dax. Friend who went to Shanghai. So, and then whenever Charles is back, I gotta ship it to Charles, because all three of us here live in New York and Charles lives outside of New York. So we need to ship it to Charles whenever he's back. So that's this. We're gonna start testing it with you guys. Other exchanges will be added very soon, very quickly. If the bug, I mean, every single exchange is different, and every single exchange might give us some problems as well, but it seems like Coinbase Pro will probably be the worst API and the worst exchange in terms of this algorithmic trading thing. So that's this. So again, let's start the promotion in the US. 25 boxes. We need to either sell them. I gotta look at this. If the 25 bucks in the US gonna sell really fast, then we're gonna do US, right? That's kind of the thing. Then we're gonna do more of US. Maybe the top limit for US is gonna be 200, 250 boxes total, just to still stay safe. In the Russian group, something happened today. Again, we slowly increasing the kind of mechanism to get people up to speed when they join the project. Each box is $1,200, sir. Somebody's asking how much is each box. $1,200, 1,200. So how to get people up to speed. So today I spoke to somebody from Russia. I already spoke to to Paul, to Korean group. I already spoke to another person from Russia, because I would like to start, skyrocketing the thing. Tomorrow I have lots of calls, like 2 or 3 calls with other 3 Russian guys, because I would like to start working on promoting the group. because right now I don't like how it's very slow. But the question in the Russian group was about, okay, so, I got the box. That's all great. Where's my millions of dollars? Basically, something like that. Basically like this, right? Like, hey, like you guys late with the box, blah, blah, blah. We are late with the box. That's fair. 100%. I'm not gonna like we are. It's a fact. It's a fact, right? So it was supposed to be April 30th. Right now right now it's June 29th. So we're 2 months late. That's a fact. But what's missing from this thing is like people said, hey, I bought the box. That's all great. Where's my millions of dollars? The problem with this approach is that they do not get the whole, like they don't get the fact that box is a very important part of the equation, but it's not the only part of the equation. The most important part of the equation is the network effect. And that's what we're going to talk today about. I did mention the network effect before, but today I would like to basically bring more light onto the network effect and discuss it in more detail about how I understand it myself. And I didn't do any additional reading, so any additional preparation for the network effect. But network effect is really what's going to make it work or not. And when I say work it or not, for whom? For you guys. And I'll make it work from what kind of perspective? Not that the box will work for you or AI signals will work for you, but the whole project as a whole will work for you. And for me and for anybody involved. So when I say work for you, it does not mean just the capital gains, but actually you guys being part of this community and you guys helping bring this community to the fruition, how you guys get a benefit from it, right? So that's what we would talk about today, because that's not clear, although I did mention it many times, in pieces, and today I gotta basically mention this in writing. So obviously, let's talk about all the benefits that any person could get from this whole community. So obviously, if there's no community, what we're gonna do is we gotta say, okay, so this is the box thing. Okay, so this is the box thing, and the box thing by itself gets AI signals here and brings them to the exchange. Okay, so in this case specifically, when we're talking about the capital gains, right? So this is no community. Community does not exist. So let's just explain this specific structure. Okay, Osher, I see it now. So let's just explain this specific structure. So AI, box, and exchange. So the most important selling proposition here that many of you guys, basically brought many of you guys here, was definitely AI. Why? The box itself can only do execution. So you need to know, like, if there's nothing to execute, I'm just thinking of some kind of example, some kind of analogy. If you don't know what to execute, when to buy and when to sell, the box itself is useless. Isn't that true? So the box itself is a very important part of the offering. It makes it sound really cool and definitely has lots of functionalities going forward in terms of becoming a node and blah blah blah. But it's a very small part of the equation compared to the AI itself. AI itself is magnificent. It's really fucking magnificent. The reason why it's magnificent is because, well, some people are saying, oh, it's crazy. Like, let me just talk about AI as well, right? Because we got to talk about this whole thing. Some people are saying, hey, people in Russia, some people in Russia, not all of them, saying, hey, too many people on the dashboard, I think. That's why it's still loading a little bit slow. So whenever chart pops up, yeah. So say like Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is up, we up 62%, but the HODL is up 119%. So Bitcoin HODL is up 119%, and we are up 62%. AI. So people say, well, you're not beating the HODL, so you're not as good. So how about you remove the chart? People say, like marketing people saying, how about you just hide the blue chart so people don't get confused, right? Or don't get sad that, hey, on HODL they would have made this money. So here's one thing. Not too many people made 119%. I'm guaranteeing you that. On that rally, most likely 90% of people lost money. Why? Because 90% of people probably bought at 100 when Bitcoin was $13,000 or $14,000. That's why most people bought. That's why most people bought. I'm guaranteeing you that. So 90% of people never seen this fucking thing. 119% does not exist. It's a poof. It's a maybe. Now they're gonna say, no, I made 119%. So I gotta tell you exactly how normally some people would make 119%. They would invest $1,000 when Bitcoin was $4,000, right? When 4K. And then they would invest the majority $10,000 when Bitcoin is at 14,000. So on this amount they're down, on this amount they're up. Right? So blue, red they're down, and green they're up. So net they're down, but they still think that they're up. So nobody, like not too many people made money on this rally. I'm just gonna be straightforward. It's true. It's the statistics. Now, when it comes down to us making 62%, the reason why I like this number, yeah, it's not as good as 119%. You didn't, but here's the thing. You didn't have to watch the market. You didn't have to read the news. Some people asked in our group, oh, what if it breaks above 11,980? Is it going to go up after this? Apparently, it's some bullshit resistance level. A resistance level means that when like the whatever financial instrument, stock or commodity, or in this case crypto, breaks above this price level, that's the psychological level. If it breaks above this level, then it's gonna rip. You don't have to care about this crap. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just buy the fucking box, and it trades for you, right? Or if you don't have the box, you just watch the dashboard and buy when it tells you to buy and sell when it tells you to sell. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any fucking research. You don't have to read any news. None of that shit. Now, the box only makes it automated. Just makes it a little bit simpler, a little bit more manageable, because sometimes you guys are busy. Sometimes you guys are sleeping. Sometimes you guys are having a party. Sometimes you guys are, on a date with your girlfriend or with your wife or with your children or with your colleagues. And you just don't have the time. But it's really the AI that makes money. And Oshri, right, so it's passive. It's an AI. AI is an asset that you have. Absolutely correct. Like AI is the most important part right now. People think, but we're waiting for the box. The box is not there. Like we can't sell this. We can't trade, blah, 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 blah. This is nonsense because AI works. That's the most, like AI is the gem in this whole equation at this point of time. So therefore, if you're part of this network of our RoninAi community, the first thing you're getting is definitely capital gains that you don't have to think about. You're just making those 62% on Bitcoin, for example, just by following the dashboard and following the signals and following the Telegram bot. So you just follow the signals and book. That's it. Right? That's the most important part. Too many people have trading bots, and nobody has AI that works. We have AI that works. Knock on the wood, and the box is on the way. It's gonna be very, very soon. So focus on AI. So if you guys are free trial, like for example, Oshri, please focus on signals. Exactly, Oshri. Exactly. They're selling the box. They're selling the box, and that's the whole problem. Like they should not exactly. They're selling the box. That's why there's an issue. So the box is a great thing. Like it's easy to sell the box. If the box works and makes you 50% whatever year, I don't need you guys. Basically, right? Like it's a touchable. Like I don't need like sales representatives. So I mean, like I don't need anybody in any countries. It's just gonna sell itself, right, likely. But they have to sell AI, so they have to explain what AI is. They have to explain how it works. We give free trials so people can test it. So that's what needs to be done. So that's the first part of capital. That's the first part, you guys getting capital gains. But you don't have to think about it. You don't have to check the news. You don't have to check anything. You don't have to be stressed about it. Nothing. You're just doing this. You're just doing that. That's it. Capital gains. The second part of this equation is the exchanges. They're saying, well, you know what, Peter? Your AI is great, but I'm waiting for the box. I'm waiting for the box. The box will come and we'll fix everything. It's not. There's another new member who just wrote to me, by the way. I gotta address this as well. He said, well, you know what, like I like this idea, blah, blah, but once you figure out the fees for the US customers, I'm gonna be basically, it seems like I gotta buy. Well, if you figure out the fees for US customers and Russian customers and Latin American customers and Korean customers, we're not gonna be selling the box that easily anymore either. Like at this point of time, it's a much easier buy because we the community is not that big yet. We only have 200 people in the US, like in the English group, and 100 people in Latin American group, and 20 people only in Russian group. Korean group just started. It's already has 7 people. It's probably going to have Korean group. I think will be the most active within a month. More active than Latin American community is already more active than our main community. These guys in Latin America are doing a great job. They finally got it. I think they're doing great. So when it comes down to the exchange, the fees that we discussed, the network effect will happen and the fees will be paid to us for trading in a decentralized fashion. The majority of companies, I'm not sure if I can even say, well, one of the main competitors we have, because I spoke to somebody, I'm not going to tell you because from the previous webinars you can figure out what the company is, that organization. They're one of our largest relative competitors. They mentioned that even if they figure out some kind of special deal with the exchange, they would like to keep that as their profit, centralized profit. When we were asked by BQuant as well about this, like, do we want to? Because I mean, Tom Slatter, super nice guy. He was just asking because the majority of entities, it doesn't make sense for those entities to distribute the profits amongst its customers. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. That's why the first question that Tom Slater asked me as well, one of the first questions was, hey, would you like to, would you like to just make money from each user that you bring? Because that's the traditional arrangement. That's what people do all the time. Robert, he was persuading me on the phone that I should do that. He was persuading me on the phone that we should write, I forgot the name of the agreement, that RoninAi should sign an agreement with BQuant, and that Robert is so fucking smart that he's the only person who knows about this agreement. It's like he's the only person who works on Wall Street, which I now doubt actually, who creates this, I forgot the name of this agreement, but basically it's an arrangement where the centralized entity gets everything, right, for bringing new customers. And Tom Slatt asked me the same question. That was one of the first questions. I said, no. Could that please be arranged so it's decentralized? And he checked with his legal team and he said, yes, it's possible. Because before I said, even if it's not possible, even if it's collected in centralized fashion, can we just create some kind of schedule internally or on your platform where we distribute like the rebates we get in a decentralized fashion? And he said, yes, it's possible, but then he found out that it's actually doable without that. So now the network effect is only possible if there are more people, right? If there are many people on RoninAi platform, then the network effect when it comes down to the fees is possible. So if you are waiting for those fees to be dropped, then it's not going to happen like this. For example, outside of the United States, for certain countries, it's possible to have those lower fees. But for example, Venezuela does not take BQuant. BQuant does not take Venezuelan citizens. So it's not possible. So Venezuela has to figure something out. But here's the thing. If Venezuela grows the network and invites more believers into the network, actual believers, which they will do very soon, then we'll be able to negotiate some kind of deal with another exchange. For example, I'm talking right now to an exchange in Chile. Chile is a country in Latin America. I'm talking to they said the top 3 exchange in that country, in Chile. Or top 3 in Chile or top 3 in Latin America, one of those. So maybe we could just host that whole, flow from Venezuela on the Chilean exchange. Or maybe we can just go to Bitfinex. Right? So each region, US included, has to worry about their own commission rates. The fact that Russian people right now will get rebates is not fucking fair because we don't have too many believers in Russia right now. That's too bad. And I really don't want that to happen because they didn't deserve this fucking thing. People in the US deserved it to some extent. So Michael, Joel, Eric, obviously, Charles, obviously, right? Kevin. Who am I forgetting, actually? Am I forgetting somebody? I think that's it, right? But anyway, so these people, like, they deserve that. You guys deserve this in the US, but it would be better if you can sell 100, 150 so we can actually go directly to Coinbase Pro, because at this point of time, unfortunately, Coinbase Pro raised the fees. Right? And I would like Coinbase Pro to actually pay us rebates too, or pay you guys rebates as well. So the network effect comes first, but the network effect, when it comes down to the fees, right? It comes from the network first. I won't be able to create that effect without the network. So to those people who are watching me from Russia right now, like some people from the US, who reached out to me, like new members, you have to grow the network first. Then I'll be able to to negotiate. I won't be able to negotiate with no network in place. It's not how it works. You have to show that you have something first and then proceed further. Right? We were able to do this for B-Quant, but that's different. We got lucky, just great chemistry between us, and just lots of obviously we have lots of variables, but Tom loves the project, so he was able to sell it. He really got excited about this project. So lots of those things. So the network effect is really important, and it comes from the network first. So in order for us to negotiate those fees, you have to grow the network. So people in Russia who say, hey, I'm waiting for the box and I'll start selling, or I'm waiting for the box and that's how I'm selling it. Great. You guys, without the network, you will have to pay commission fees. So your trading will be unprofitable. Because they're trading through Binance and they're trading on Bitfinex. And they're paying those fees right now. They're paying them regardless, whether we exist or we don't exist as an organization, as a network. Doesn't matter. So they're paying them regardless. So it's really kind of, I don't get it, how those people cannot fucking compute the fees that they pay and subtract them from the profits they expect and see that half the profits minimum will be wiped out. I don't fucking know how it's not visible. It's pure math. And people in Russia have to know math better than anybody else, especially for those kind of things. So that's the second part of the network. So we talked about, so the first one was capital gains, which you guys getting whether the network exists or not. The second one is fees. Fees will be removed and hopefully rebated. There's some positive news associated for the fees for the American users, but again, not now. Guys, please help me sell 100, 150 boxes here. Then we'll not only share that great news, we'll actually implement it. Now, more. What other network effects exist? The main network effect that I think exists for all of us here included, and that's how I could facilitate towards generating more wealth for everybody involved, for myself included too. Of course, I'm working for tokens. Like my compensation is just tokens, so I'm very incentivized to make sure tokens work out, because I'm not paying myself anything from this. Is we are on the path of generating a $1 billion worth network, right? Through the tokens. I mean, this is an old story. You guys know this stuff. And we are planning to pre-mine 1 billion tokens, right? So if everything works out, one token is equal to, say, RAI. So we'll call them RAI. So RAI tokens, one RAI token is equal to $1. So the only way for us to make sure that it's actually happening is to offer liquidity to the exchanges, like become the exchange of the exchange of the exchanges, right? So where we'll go to Coinbase and say, hey, we have this amount of volume, give us rebates. Then we'll go to another exchange and say, hey, this, and we go to Bitfinex, and we go to Binance, and we go to whatever. And then after this, we just become the exchange ourselves, decentralized exchange. So we just unite all these exchanges together into a decentralized fashion because we offer so much liquidity as a network, right? That's basically the idea. The only way for us to really grow to a $1 billion network is to have the community of people who are actively promoting the product. That's why, for example, we're not selling the box anymore. The way how we sell the box right now is this. We say we are selling an annual subscription of $1,199, $1,200, whatever. Kevin, how are you, sir?
Good, man.
And then if you guys become an active member of our community, then we're gonna give you the box. We changed that. It's basically like 2 weeks old or 1 week old. Like it's a new thing. So nobody can buy the box unless they become an active member of our community. And how the network works is, from what I'm not prepared for this, like to discuss this in more detail, but from what I heard from the old days, it's X squared. And that's what all the internet companies did. So they would say, okay, I have X number of unique monthly visitors. So my valuation is going to be X squared. Actually, there are obviously some brackets. So I think it was like, like from say 1 to whatever, $10,000, it's like 5,000 members. I think it's like X squared, and then it's like 1/3 X squared, or 1/2. Then it's like, it's kind of like getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but it's an exponential function. So it's like Y is equal to KX squared, where K is like whatever, some fraction. So that's really what's happening. And same thing will happen to us. So it's really about the network, but the effect of this network is going to be exponential. Exponential meaning that it's not linear. So linear will just go like this. So if you get one member, we get like one member, the valuation is $1, and if you get 10 members, the valuation is $10. That's linear. Exponential is a little bit different. Exponential, say it's y is equal to x squared. If you have one member, the valuation of this network is $1. But if you have 10 people, the valuation of this network is $100. Because exponential, not $10, $100. On the other hand, if it's 20 people, then the network value is $400. Now, why is that important to anybody? Again, it's important to you guys because you guys are the ones who get in tokens. At this point in time, they're just points, but they hopefully at some point in time we'll have. Right now they're just utility tokens, but hopefully at some point of time they'll have some value, just like Ether. Ether is a utility token. It pays for gas, for transactions, but it also has a value. It's also kind of like a security. Yeah, it definitely has a security element to it because it grows in value. People make money from it. So it's really important to grow that network. It's a network effect because the more people, the more nodes we have, the higher the valuation for the network. When I was checking last time I was checking, this was a long time ago, but I think Bitcoin with multi-billion dollar, how much are they? 100 or 200 billion right now? They only have 10 or 20,000 full nodes. That's it. 10 or 20,000 full nodes. Definition of full node is somebody who has a ledger, full ledger on their device, whether it's an ASIC computer or it's a, that's it. Full nodes, guys. That's it. So when I say we need a community, I don't say that we need a million of people, to do some kind of revolution. Yeah, Max just wrote to me 9,000 nodes. 9,000 devices in the world has a full ledger. That's it. 9,000 people. That's nothing. It's like it's in big universities, it's just like 1 year, like juniors or sophomores, right? Like say university has 40,000 people, so just one year. That's it. And you are a multi-billion-dollar company. So we're not even looking for that many nodes, and I don't think we'll be able to compete with Bitcoin. With all, come on, with all due respect to our, to our staff and to myself. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Like, come on, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. But we don't need that many nodes even to compete. But that's how the value will be created. Because if everybody sees, just like in the startup, I'm pretty sure, if the world sees that we have enough nodes and they see that there's traction in acquiring more nodes, and that traction has exponential effect, meaning that right now, say we have 100 full nodes. And then say July, so this is June, and say July we have 200 nodes, but August we don't have 200 nodes, we have 350 nodes. So this change here was 100, but this change was not 100, this change was 150. And then say in September our value, our thing is 575, so now it's 225, right? So you see how it's increasing at an increasing pace. That's called exponential. So it's increasing at an increasing pace. So if they see that there's a traction that is increasing at an exponential pace, that traction will help us by itself to get to this valuation, because valuation is a very psychological thing. If you get all the dollars in circulation right now at this point of time and multiply by the purchasing power, it's probably going to be like very highly valued thing. It's going to be like super. Well, it's going to be valued in like, I'm not sure how many dollars in circulation are out there, but probably trillions. But that's a conceptual thing. That's totally conceptual. That's just in our heads. Like, why this house is $500,000? Why this car is $50,000? It's a conceptual thing, right? Because they say, well, because the price for materials is they say the price for materials is $40,000, and that's why we sell the car at $80,000, right? At 50% margin, or 200% margin, 100% margin, whatever. But why this metal in particular is why the piece of metal and the piece of rubber and human hours are $40,000? Why, right? Well, because that's what they have, that's the salaries, right? Because that's what the average salary is. But why the average salary is like that? Well, because the average salary is like that because the price of the house is like this, the price of the monthly maintenance is like that, and the price for the food is like that. Okay, but why the price of the food is like that? And at the end of the day, if you really distill down to like level 1, unit 1, we will figure out that it's all conceptual. In reality, like money is just a great equalizer. It's a great tool for the barter system. So instead of me buying, me working 2 hours to get a piece of strawberry, and then and then I have to sell that strawberry for computers, I'll just go directly and buy computers. So I don't have to go to strawberry and then computers. I can go directly to the computers with the money. So it's all conceptual. So conceptual valuation is also conceptual, but you guys will be the main beneficiaries of that concept of $1 billion valuation because of the traction. So that's a network effect. I think this is the biggest network effect. And obviously the fact that we're getting capital gains, you guys are getting capital gains, and you guys are also getting the fees. So capital gains, and then we have the fees, and hopefully rebates, right? That alone will draw a lot of attention to us as a network in the world. But number 3, it will all lead to the network effect. And that's what people think. But in reality, it's the other way around. In reality, it's the network effect goes first. Imagine we have 15 million people right now. 15 million people who, men, women, whatever, children, hopefully above 18 years old so they can vote, say some elderly. Imagine we have 15 million people who are united with one purpose. And we live in the United States right now. Like imagine 15 million people live in the United States. And let's say like, whatever, I'm the president, whatever, somebody, just because I'm here, I'm the face person, right? Just so for the sake of the example. And whatever I kind of say, as long as, it tolerates with what 15 million people think, it happens. You think United States will tolerate that kind of stuff? United States will be super, as a country, will be super concerned about what the fuck is happening. Like why those 15 million people are completely uncontrollable. And chances are we're going to start a war. And chances are we'll try to fight for independence as 15 million people. And chances are we'll win that war because 15 million people is a lot of fucking people. So what I'm trying to say is the 15 million people, like if you imagine them, they are living in one location close to each other. Like they have all the stores, they have some matters of production, they have some bankers themselves, they have lawyers, they have army, right? They have athletes, they have teachers, they have kids, they have families. All that stuff together creates a community. And you can see that, you can imagine that, and that's how the old school way of creating a community. The new school way of creating a community is a virtual community. You don't even see these people. Like Michael, I never met you in person. Kevin, I never met you in person, right? Eric, I met you once in Philly, in person, right? I met Charles once. Joel, I met like probably 5 times now, 6. So, because he lives here in New York. So, it's like, it's a virtual community. But if you have 15 million people in the world who have one purpose, what, you think that other government's not going to count with us? Because look at this, like of the 350 million people here in the US, and US is a great country in terms of people actually self-conscious. People actually know what the fuck is going on. People actually care about politics. How many people actually vote? Maybe half? How many people actually read what they vote for? Right? How many people read the program presented by political, because now we have the primaries, well, not the primaries, but the democratic things. Well, they started at least here in the US. How many people actually care? How many people actually know what's going on? Maybe 1%. Maybe 1%, which is what? 3.5 million people. That's it. So 3.5 million people have a purpose, and those people basically decide what happens to the rest, to the remaining 99% of people. And that's the United States. In other countries, even less. Like Israel, probably high. Europe, some parts of Europe may be high, but Russia, I know it for sure, it's very low. Nobody fucking cares. Imagine we have some group of people, so it's only 3.5 million people who basically control the United States. If you think about it, it's always 1%. That's why they say it's the top 1%. Because they care about, they actually know what's going on. They care about the system. They work their asses up to make sure it's implemented. They're smart, they're intelligent, they grow connections, they do everything right. It's only 3.5 million people that create multi-trillion-dollar economy, With only 350 million people, US is beating China with like 1.3 billion right now. So great country, great people. But it's a tiny percentage of people who actually make decisions because they're conscious. So imagine that our community as well, network effect, imagine that our community has 100 but very consciously aware people who are growing the community, who are growing the connections, who are helping the project. So that's why this is going to be an exponential effect. Now it will seem like it's 10,000 people. If you have 1,000 people in our network, it will look like we have 1 million people. It's always going to be like this. It's exponential. If you have this amount of power, it's power now, right? Business always goes on the power because business does whatever the power says. The laws are always presented and approved by people in power, and then businesses have to follow that. And businesses can bribe somebody, but at the end of the day, they're still bribing people of power. So the network effect presents the element of power. And if you have this element of power, we go to any commercial organization such as Coinbase Pro, HitBTC, Bitfinex. They have nothing. They're only a fucking commercial organization. They're nothing. They're just a commercial organization. They don't have a network. They can say, well, they have a network of users. Yeah, but those users are not going to die for this. Nobody will die for Bitfinex. If Bitfinex is closed tomorrow, how many people will go on the streets? Nobody. They don't have a network. They have users and they have employees, and that's all they have. They're just a business. So that's why I'm saying the network effect is really important. That's why we need loyal customers. They're not customers. They're user members like Eric. Like that's what we need, right? And that's why I'm keep emphasizing this all the time, but people seem not to understand this. If you have 100 loyal people, like loyal, who really get our vision, who come to our webinars, like Michael, come to our webinars. Michael, for example, not very participating in the webinars, comes to like almost in the group, but comes to almost every webinar. Same thing with Kevin. Kevin has come to almost every webinar for 6 months before he joined the group, the Telegram group, right? Eric has been with us since December, right? Charles, always with me, always on Skype with me, all the time. What I write, like he'll respond to me within 5 minutes. Like always like this, right? So like Korea, Paul, amazing, right? Guys in Latin America, amazing, right? So loyal. If you have 100 loyal people, I think we can get whatever we want in terms of fees, pretty much, well, within reasons. If you have 1,000 loyal people, I think we can get to 1 billion valuation. I think it's about that. Because 1,000 people, loyal people, will mean that we're gonna sell a lot of fucking boxes. Our valuation right away, just boxes alone, is huge. And you guys are the part of this decentralized network. So like, it's not that me and developers own the boxes. You guys own the boxes, right? So you guys own parts of this network, and the network overall grows in value because it presents such power, such decentralized computing power. So think about this. Again, it's not for people who are here right now listening to me. They understand this. Like who are here right now, they understand it. This webinar is always for new members, for new people. Think about this. It's always about the network effect. We are actually gonna build something together. We're actually building it together. Like it's a fucking house that we need to build together. If you build it, it's gonna be a very powerful house. It's all about power at the end of the day. Who is soldiers? Who is army? Who is who's FBI? Who's SEC? It's all people. It's all people. And last but not least, it's not that I'm putting this. Organization as an example, but I can, and I don't think this organization is very kind. But I got to put this in as just something I learned. So many of you guys learned about Scientology. So Scientology, just think about. Okay, I'll just write it out. So Scientology, right? I'm not a Scientologist. Right away. I don't think I will ever join this amazing quote religion. What these guys did, they didn't want to pay taxes. So IRS said that they would own multi-billion, like I think it was like 1.1 billion in taxes. So there's this huge hearing in 1990s, something like that, in the US. So IRS is the organization, Internal Revenue Service. So it's an organization that does the tax for the country, for the US. And IRS went to Scientology and said, hey guys, you now owe $1.1 billion. You guys are not a religious organization. You claimed you were in a religious organization, but you're not. So pay up. You have to pay. That's how much taxes you owed us over the last, 30 years. plus the fee, plus the fine, 1.1 billion. So what Scientology did, what is Scientology? Scientology at this point, they say they have millions of people. It seems like they are 20,000 people. 20,000 people. They're not technologically savvy. There's 20,000 people in terms of they're not internet, they're not Google, they're not Microsoft, they're not Amazon. They're just a very loyal customer base of 20,000 people. Very loyal, very loyal. Assets alone, reported assets alone is 3 billion. Reported assets. That's not valuation. That's assets. They sell the houses and buildings tomorrow, 3 billion. That's reported. Imagine how much cash they have, not reported. Imagine how many other assets they have in other countries, not reported. Imagine how many financial instruments they probably have. Probably, you know, some reported, some not. So this is just real estate. And they're not Google. Like if you look at like Google, Apple, etc., like they might have like they are valued at like whatever $1 trillion, but like say 1 trillion for like Amazon. But how much assets they have, like actual assets. Valuation is valuation, but how much assets they have. So much lower usually. Like usually for like maybe it's 20 to 1. Like say for $1 of asset, your valuation is going to be $20. So if you're going to evaluate Scientology, say 1 to 20 or 1 to 10, so the Scientology will be a 30 billion to 60 billion project. It's very similar to Ethereum in terms of valuation, right? But they're not technologically savvy. It's a fucking religion at the end of the day, right? So imagine they also introduce some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of like tech element to that. This guy's gonna be like fucking, this guy's gonna be the first multi-trillion organization for sure if they went that route, but they didn't. So what happened was the IRS went up and said, hey, you know what, this and this and this, $1.1 billion. They started suing Scientology. So what Scientology said, okay, you know what, fuck that, we're not gonna pay this money. So how about we tell all of our followers that if you guys are following with our, if you guys are, you know, working for IRS or have connections in IRS, etc., or had some confidence in IRS, how about you sue IRS? So they started suing IRS. So they opened up like 2,000 plus claims against IRS. Why not? So now IRS has to spend all this money, all this legal money against the 20 whatever. Let's assume it's 2,500 claims. Against 2,500 claims in order to get $1.1 billion. And these claims are never ending. Like they will, like let's say these claims will be resolved. Next year, there will be another 2,500 claims. Why? They're all coming from 20,000 people. Because each person just starts fucking suing IRS, right? So what IRS said, you know what? How about you drop these claims and we'll drop this fine. So Scientology was never had to pay the 1.1 billion dollars, never had to pay. So Scientology, fucking some fucked up organization with only 20,000 people, told the IRS to go fuck themselves, and they won. That's power. That's only 20,000 people, guys. Just so you know. IRS, like any tax department in any country is usually the department, because that's the department that deals with money. This department sponsors the whole government spending, right? Because the government lives on taxes. That's the business model. So you collect taxes from people. In return, you give them protection and social services and blah, 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 blah. So Scientology was able to tell them to go fuck themselves. That's only 20,000 people. Imagine we have 1,000 loyal people. And our people are not Scientology. But the Scientology people, they're a little bit like nuts. They're a little bit like, I don't want to offend anybody if you guys are Scientology. I think it's a whatever. Everybody is entitled to their own. But they are definitely a little bit cuckoo, a little bit. Again, if you guys are from Scientology, don't sue me. What I'm trying to say is, our people are rational people. Everybody who is with us right now, they understand numbers. They understand, like, they have common sense. Imagine you have 1,000 loyal people with common sense. What can we achieve, right? I think this will definitely lead us to 1 billion valuation. But for that, the network has to grow first. So it's all about network first. And then after this, everything else will follow. If you have some money, if you have this amount of valuation, imagine how many AI professors we can attract to make even better AI. Fees is not even going to be a question. Fees is going to be, boo. Plus, your tokens will go up in value, right? So everything like we thought it would be. And this is just with 1,000 loyal customers, I think. Obviously, 500 boxes. The 500 number is the 500 number. That's the number. But I'm talking about the network as a whole, like that will allow us to really be somebody in this world. It's only 1,000 loyal. So just think about this. That's the thought that I would like to end our webinar on. So network is really key. Is really the key. Yes, the box is not ready, but guess what? Network takes a lot more time to develop than the box. The box, yes, we late, but it took us at most 6 months. Network will take a long time. Network is, you have to earn people's trust. In order to earn people's trust, you have to be really trustworthy. You have to develop your skills. You have to really be responsible for whatever you say. You have to try to over deliver, or at least deliver, but definitely try to over deliver, but definitely deliver on whatever you promised. So that's a very difficult thing to do. It's a really difficult thing to do. You have to be always honest and trustworthy and transparent about whatever you do. You have to work your ass off. So network takes a long time to build. So whoever is listening right now and thinking that, hey, I'll buy the box and everything will be solved. No, you have to build the network and help us build the network and spend your time right now helping us build the network. Then if you buy the box, lots of other things will fall into place themselves. All right, guys, that's it. So far, everybody who's listening to us, guys, thank you so much for this, for amazing help and support. It's really needed. And again, I think next week we'll start sending up. Well, I think Joe will just come over to the office and pick up the box, and I'll give it to Dax as well. And Charles, whenever he's back from his week of absence, we'll send him the box. Okay. Question from Ashri. Just a question: where's the box manufactured by who? So at this point of time, this box was manufactured by 3D Hubs, right? So it's a 3D printing company. We're not affiliated with them. We just ordered the stuff from them. I know them because one of my pretty close friends used to work for them before, like years ago. But guys in Russia decided to print their own boxes. Guys in Latam decided to print their own boxes. Same everything, just they printed them themselves. Guys in Korea also printing the box themselves. So for example, Oshi, if you decide, like if you think that this project is for you and you like the AI and you really like to help, then if you like to say do this in Israel, done, right? Like it's $1,200, $1,000 we need for us and $200 we need for manufacturing. So you'll just keep the $200 to manufacture it yourself. That's it. It's like you just have to print this. It has two parts. There's also the bottom. I don't have it right now. Well, I can reach it out, but it's a little bit too far. So it's this top, the bottom part. There's a Raspberry Pi. There's a wire, which we found out has to be a special wire, the cable. And there's this box. Has to look pretty for our users because they deserve it. They waited for such a long time. We have to really fucking deliver. And I think that's it. Oh, and also an SD card. I'll show you. Oops. Yeah, so there's a Raspberry Pi, like this, right? And there's a SD card. This baby has 128 gigabytes. It's a very powerful one. So these are all the parts. That's it. So you just put the Raspberry Pi. Here's the lid. So you put this on the lid. You have the screws. You screw them in. If you guys see it, right? Then you put the top. You put the top. And here's your box. That's it. Very easy. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate your support. Very, very soon. I know we're late with the box, but it's coming. In the meantime, please focus on the network. Oshi, of course, yeah, we have all the documentation, how and what needs to be printed. Of course, yeah, that's how the other guys printed it. We're not posting the pictures of the boxes yet. Well, not anymore in the main chat, although we should, because we would like the box to be finished first, but then we'll be really, really hyping it. You'll see. All right, gentlemen. See you guys next week.